We've said it before and we'll say it again. Handhelds are back. They've been back. They're coming back? This week, we're discussing rumors after refusing to talk about a specific rumor last week. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
This is a song I wrote about the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who has called out a hit on Punxsutawney Phil. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, do you remember what I said before the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that darn groundhog, am I right?
Yeah, sorry. Let me jump back into the snow mound here for the rest of the podcast so you can kind of get a feel. I'm fully covered in 6'3". Oh. Yeah, so I don't know if you heard any of that. But
Oh, yeah, we heard it.
Jeez, man, there's so much snow I could just jump in it.
Yeah. All right. Listen, I really thought with you being a classic New Yorker now that you would have a ton of snow, and how foolish of me.
No, it's funny. I have people like from Pennsylvania and Tennessee texting me, and they're like, "Oh my God, we have a foot of snow. How much snow do you have?" I'm like, some.
None? Little?
I can see more green than white on the ground.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. So,
yeah, it just completely just stayed south of us.
Do
you have snow?
No. Oh God, no.
Do you know what snow is?
I do. Unfortunately,
I guess yeah. If you had snow, I'd probably hear that North Carolina was in a state of emergency.
Right. Exactly. I still get alerts for the town that Shelby and I last lived in Massachusetts, Malden. I still get alerts that are like, snow emergency in effect, and voting begins soon. All that stuff. I really got to get myself off that list. But
it took me like a year.
Yeah. It's the same for me because I forget about it, and then I get a new alert like a couple months later. But yeah, they just had a state of emergency. But then it got lifted. So I assume that means it wasn't as bad as they were expecting. But I was just talking to my dad and my mom last night, and they were saying that they have like 11 to 12 inches.
Yeah, that's what.
And so I was like, fuck. So I was like, oh, Mike's probably in hell right now.
Nope. I mean, I would like to have a foot of snow. I think it'd be fun, but
yeah, for the laughs. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Do you want to tell me? About your weekend games? Like,
at least it happened early.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so weird. I don't know. Oh, I think I know what's doing it. I'll fix it. No, I'll try to fix it now. We'll see. That's the only thing that's changed. Hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I unplugged my camera, which also happens to have a microphone on it. I don't know if maybe they're yelling at each other or... Anyway, I said I stayed true to one game in the spirit of Valentine's Day.
Okay. All right.
And that was Cyberpunk.
Nice.
I'm going to be mad at myself because I'm going through and doing like all the NCPD scanner things because I did like none of them throughout the entire time I was playing.
Okay.
And there's like actually some lore and story behind those.
Yeah.
And so I'm just enjoying being in that world again. And then I'm going to be so upset once I'm completely done with that game.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to like jump to like something else. But I guess like the positive is that you do have like Starfield, which is something that's at least started, you know, and like because there's nothing worse than like being in like a complete game and like wrapping it up and being finished with it and then needing to try and like start another fairly big game but like from scratch. Like sometimes that is
Yeah.
just like the hardest uh like friction point of getting into a game is like literally the first hour of a game.
Yeah. I think this will all be net good because my issue with Starfield so far has not been that I haven't been enjoying it because I have. It's that Phantom Liberty came out at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think Cyberpunk is the better game. Um and I enjoy it a lot more. So like it's hard to play Starfield when I know that I could be playing Cyberpunk.
Sure.
So I think once I'm completely done with Cyberpunk, it'll be good for me.
I get that. It's completely fair.
Yeah.
So that was it. Just a little cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's been a pretty focused week.
Nice. Nice. I also had a fairly focused week. I didn't play too much. But I did play this game called Proteus, which is like I don't want to call it like a Doom ripoff, but like it's very much stylized like old Doom. Um so you know, you're just in a level and you just run around and kill these alien slash demon type things. Just good sort of mindless fun, you know. Um
Very good.
yeah, so uh that was kind of the main thing I think I like worked on and played. Can't really think of anything else too exciting. Pretty low key, I guess, for me.
There you
Um, yeah, that's it. Oh, Shelby and I played more Yoshi's Island too. There we go. The save
go.
file stayed. I don't think I.
Excellent.
I was gonna say I don't think I. It was yeah. It was last week where I was talking about how the cartridge and all that stuff. So we didn't
Mhm.
finish it. We got to World 5. Or we got through World 5 and there's only 6 worlds. So we're at the start of World 6, but with the whole like stream themes that we've been doing where it's like Monday I'm working on getting these platinums, Thursdays I'm working on or together, Shelby and I are like taking turns, you know, passing the controller like the good old days. And playing through like retro and you know the underhanded name Throwback Thursday, right? So easy.
There you go.
But yeah, so we're gonna move on to Chrono Trigger now, even though we didn't finish Yoshi's Island, and we'll probably just like because we probably only have like an hour or so. You know, if each world takes roughly an hour to 2 hours or something like that, so it wouldn't quite fill out a stream for us. So we're just gonna use it as like a filler on like a Saturday or something. But it's really good, and that also reminds me that you and Justine got yourselves a cheeky SNES, and so I would love to hear, I mean, about both of yours experience, but mainly Justine's when it comes to like Yoshi's Island, and I think I forgot to say it to you when we were talking about it, but like there's 3 Donkey Kong Country games that I know you had said I think in the past that her family's like real crazy about those games and like know all the like little secrets and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's something
But
about those like SNES like uh like platformers. They're just I think I'm just not good at platformers, but
they're
they
tough.
feel like the perfect like amount of challenge. So maybe that's good, right? Like cuz I feel like I can beat them, right? Um but damn if it isn't like mind-blowingly frustrating. I feel like compared to like more current games.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Because like, and it feels like sometimes like the pixels are just off, and you end up just falling into oblivion. But I don't know that Justine played the second or third Donkey Kong Country. They have the original one,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of their game. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, you got a lot that you got a lot to work with there. Um, Super Metroid as well for you. There's
Yes.
like the and like and that's what I was gonna say. There's something so different too about like a platformer, an old platformer, and a game that's like we'll just call it like a Souls game where you have to like traverse through level, eventually get to a boss of some sort, and then the boss is like unreasonably hard, and you have to really like learn from each time you die. There's just something so different between the two. Yet, I feel like the satisfaction of completing is exactly the same. It's like to almost the exact same level, at least for me, uh,
I feel
which I
like
love.
I feel like with Nintendo too, like you don't have like the social aspect of it. Like there's no achievements.
Hmm.
Like even in modern Nintendo.
Hmm.
Sort of like go back and play an old Nintendo game. It's like, oh, it's just like I'm playing a modern one.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. I get in my head about that sometimes. Like, oh, I'm gonna go back and play a PS2 game. But is it worth it? I don't know.
Well,
No trophies.
I'll be sure to fill you in. Although, once we make our way to the PS1 and eventually, inevitably, at some point, the PS2, um, any game that's on like the PlayStation Plus catalog and has trophies, I will absolutely just be like phoning it in and playing it on that so I can get trophies for it. So it's like a little extra benefit.
Makes
Um,
sense.
that's only I think for the most part it's only the like PlayStation first party games that have like backwards compatibility trophies or whatever you want to call it. Like trophy support added to like old PS1 or PS2 games when obviously the trophy system was not a thing. So um but also most of the games we're going to probably be playing will be or we'll probably be hitting most of those games. But um yeah. You talking about getting the SNES had me real excited, as I'm sure you could tell. Uh,
Yeah, it's gonna be very bad for our financial future. Um, the place that we got it, which is the place that we took you,
hmm.
um, they have so many SNES games.
You know what? Can I actually? I might need to put you on the lookout for some games for me.
Yeah.
I've been having a real hard time finding them, and just realized I have a whole nother market that I can try and utilize by having
Yeah.
you do some
Give me a
searching.
list. I might even go back there soon because they had Super Metroid there. The hard thing is that Super Metroid is also on the collection,
Yeah, I know.
and we have the Switch version of the Super Nintendo controller. Like you know how they were selling like they did the original Nintendo and
Hmm.
then they did Super Nintendo and then 64. Yeah, we bought one of the actual controllers. So it's like, do I really need to spend the money on this?
Technically, no, but
But and here's what was telling about my personality. We went back there, and last time you and I were there, they had the original Metroid for NES,
hmm.
and I didn't buy it.
Hmm.
And I've thought about that game so many times since then. And we went back, it wasn't there anymore, and I just was pissed.
Yeah,
It was probably
yeah.
my only chance to get that game at a reasonable price.
Yep, that's the issue with like the retro game hunting that I do. Um it is yeah, like when you see the opportunity to get some of these like call it rare games and like the second hand gaming market is kind of like fucking bullshit with like just how blown out it is, but also it's like one of those things where it's like, well, you really don't have a choice. Like that's just kind of how it's
Right.
been dictated. You can just only hope that it doesn't all of a sudden plummet for some reason. But um, I had that issue with Chrono Trigger. Like, it's a game that like for the most part is like going to sell for like $200 to $300 online. So it's like when you find it in the wild for a little less than what you normally see it for online, it's like I should probably just go ahead and buy this.
Yeah. That was when we bought the Super Nintendo. He's like, "Do you want to get any games?" And I thought about it, but I've been so out of like the retro game market. I don't know what's a reasonable price. And he seemed fine, but I think he had like Super Nintendo for like 80 or Super Metroid for like $80.
Yeah, and that's
Which I'm
probably about right. Like I have a
yeah.
list. I can share the list with you. That has like the like ideal or like easy price, which is like if you just go through like an online
Hmm.
retailer that like curates it, you know, which is like
They
the best, like the next best thing, because it's like I don't really trust eBay too much. Like I trust I trust like an actual like retail like storefront and stuff like that, because normally they'll come with like a warranty and things like that. So and like
right
some sort of guarantee that the game will at least work.
and be real. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about cartridge games.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Send me what you're looking for. They had a ton of stuff, and I found um a whole new section of like GameCube games they had hidden away.
Ooh,
It was like in the very corner of like one of the displays behind the counter. And unfortunately, it was like fallen over, so I couldn't read everything that they had. But they had all sorts of games. They had Japanese games that I've never seen before. Um, they had a new in-box Metroid Prime with like the Kmart sticker on it still.
that's awesome.
And they were only selling that for like 250.
That's
So if you're a
crazy.
collector, that seems like a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Might just need to flat out plan a cheeky little trip.
Yeah, come on up.
Sounds like there's a treasure trove. Um. All right. Well, I think that was enough pleasantries. I think we can get into the meat and potatoes, as we like to
Yeah,
say.
pitter patter.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her. We got some rumors, which is ironic. I called it out at the top because we refused to talk about a very specific rumor or rumors last week, and we're still not going to touch on those entirely. um, but there are a couple of rumors that came out recently that maybe suggest that even PlayStation and Xbox are both potentially going to get into um, the handheld market a bit more. Obviously, PlayStation released that Portal, which is like a half toe dip into the handheld. I guess it's a full dip into the handheld. Doesn't really satisfy the like portable aspect. Um, and we touched on this towards the end of the episode last week, but Insider Gaming, who notoriously end up nailing these things, did post something about a rumor circulating that Sony or PlayStation might actually be like going and making a completely new handheld console. They do preface it quite a bit that it is rumors and that they themselves were having a hard time confirming the claims. So I do think it is worth touching on that. But we then also had rumor, or I guess it's been confirmed that the Surface team is going to be working on the next Xbox console. And you were saying that you believe the Surface team has been working on the Xbox consoles since the Xbox One. Is that what you said?
The I know the One X
Okay.
specifically. So, and at that point, they were kind of like a cross-functional team because the Xbox One X came out and the Surface Book 2 came out. And that was right when Xbox was really making their big push into cross-platform, if you call it that, between PC and Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
What are they calling it? Like smart delivery or something like that. If you bought a game
Yeah.
for, yeah. So the Xbox team helped the Surface team develop like basically the hardware for the Surface Book 2 to be able to play Xbox games on it as a very slim laptop. And then at the same time, the Xbox One X came out, and that's when we started seeing like the more recent design language in Xbox, like all matte, smaller,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more discreet looking. So they've been cross functional at least since then. Um, and now there's reports that the Surface team is taking over, and I just lost my page, but I forget the head of Xbox hardware right now, but he is evidently either out or not leading the hardware team now. And I've seen a lot of like back and forth. Um, some people saying, basically what I just said, and that the Surface team has always. I mean, there are people saying the Surface team has always run hardware design.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if "run" is the right word, but they've certainly collaborated.
Sure.
Um, and then there are, of course, other people who are saying this is a death knell for Xbox, and I don't know. I think it's kind of net good. I mean, the Surface hardware has become very good over the years, and certainly helps substantiate the rumors that Microsoft could be looking into developing portable hardware.
Yeah. And I think the rumor I saw specifically about it, it was, I think, on last week's episode of the Xbox podcast, or maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. Um, Sorry, I don't have the timeline nailed down, but the idea is that the handheld would almost be like the Series S. Like they would still do like two consoles, and it would be a part of their next lineup. Like it wouldn't come before that. Is the understanding that I was getting from what I was looking
Yeah,
at. So
and it sounds like that matches up potentially with the PlayStation timeline as well.
right, it's just really interesting. Um, this like idea of actually trying to like maybe go back into it, the handheld market, that is, or go back into it for Sony and actually like really take a shot at it when it comes to Xbox. And it's just like, it's just crazy because it always goes back to the Switch, right? Like it's just like, it's so clear that the Switch is really the reason for kicking all this off, right? Or I guess the Switch, and then to some extent, like uh, the Steam Deck, for substantiating the thought and claim that like handheld is like a viable option, and people actually want it and things like that, right? Um, so you have these rumors circulating, and then you also have like the rumors of um, a potential Nintendo Direct happening, where we've been talking for probably the past 3, maybe 4 Nintendo events that like this could be the one where they finally announce a Switch 2, right? And um, it's just really interesting, I think, to consider. And um, I think the promise of what this hardware could be capable of is like really fascinating. Like flat out, the Switch 2 was being rumored that it's going to be able to run like PS4 quality, like that generation's quality. And a lot of people want to like dunk on Nintendo for that, but I mean, look at the games that are coming out for PS5 and Series X. It's not like many of them are really like blowing the PS4 or Xbox One X out of the water. You know what I mean? Some of them are still releasing on those consoles. So like to think that you're going to have that in your hand is like a pretty remarkable thing, and it's not something that really is like ever super necessary when it comes to a Nintendo console in the first place, right? Um, and then like the PlayStation handheld rumors are saying that like the console itself should be able to run PS4 or even PS5 games. it's just crazy like what this tech is gonna potentially be able to do. Has me really excited, even though we're still in like the very early on rumor phases. Did I lose you again?
That would explain why you didn't hear me earlier. Okay, so my thought didn't work, and maybe either I just need a new cable or a new mic. Who knows?
Uh,
Um. Anyway. Um. What was I saying? Oh, so question.
yes.
Kind of going back to like the Series X and the PS5 era games not really being all that better than PS4 in terms of like graphics alone.
Hmm.
Do you ever play any games that like have the option for a graphics mode? Like, do you ever play them in the graphics mode, or do you just always do like the performance, higher frame rate?
Um, I definitely have played games that have the option, but I think I always just leave it.
Yeah,
But that's also because I guess maybe that's just me, right? Like maybe I just don't care enough because we're at a point where games already look fantastic.
right.
How much how much
I've
how much better could they really look?
there you look like the real thing. Yeah, I've tried to use like Cyberpunk, for example, has like a ray tracing mode.
Hmm.
And every time I've done it, I couldn't get past the frame rate. There's a lot of like tearing and ghosting and things like that. But like if you stand still, it looks fucking fantastic.
Hmm.
Um but if you don't do that, all you're getting is an FPS boost. Which like I said, I would rather have. I'd rather it look smooth than like every detail look gorgeous. So, in terms of having things be like PS4 um era graphics, like I think that's fine. I think graphics wise, you're pretty much matching up with um the PS5 and the Series X, like with an asterisk.
Hmm.
And I think the advantage that Switch has is that, these games aren't necessarily massive. I don't know. I guess the third party games might be different, but we never notice any like super long load times on the Switch.
Right. I feel the
So it's
same.
it's already got that advantage that like the current generation has in that there's very quick load times. Um so I don't know. I think it'll be I don't get the whole it's rumored that it's going to have an LCD screen and an OLED screen. Um which I guess I don't really get,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's just like an inventory and price cutting thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And like obviously it's one of those things where it's like we won't know until we for sure know. So, maybe that's something that somehow got lost in amongst the rumors or lost in uh yeah, like the reporting and like the transfer of the information or whatever. But
Or maybe it's like you said, maybe Nintendo's putting
yeah,
false news out there and
seeing where it leaks.
yeah, seeing if they can shut insider gaming down.
Yeah.
Um
It's just it's a really like interesting time, and it's just funny how like time remains like a flat circle, right? And it's just like everything that's old becomes new again.
right.
Um
I think
yeah.
I think the interesting thing about handhelds now, like you look at DS and PSP era, like you were playing games developed specifically for those consoles.
Mhm.
And then like mobile gaming became a thing, and the attitude was, well, if I'm going to play games that are like bite-sized, like PSP and DS games were, like I'm just going to play them on my phone.
Right.
Um, and now with like the Switch and like you said, like the Steam Deck, people are able to play games that they already own for like I'm going to say a console. I'm including PC in that, but something that you would like physically sit down and play at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can just take it with you. I think that's kind of where this is realigning. And I think you made a really good point with like in the next generation, there won't be a Series S console. It will be whatever this handheld is.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is true that the Surface team is developing it, you know it's going to have like a docking feature, or at least like HDMI out,
Yeah.
like through USB-C. Um, so there you go. And then I imagine a handheld PlayStation is going to be just about the same. It's going to be a lower scale version of whatever's currently out, um, which would be really funny in my opinion because all of the PlayStation people are like, um, they're saying basically that the Series S is the reason for Xbox quote unquote downfall right now because
Mm-hmm.
developers don't want to have to develop for both, but they want a PlayStation Portable so bad, and that's exactly what it's going to be in the next generation.
Right. I I also think you brought up a good point about how like there was this like transition from handheld to just like flat out mobile gaming. And you also touched on it right before that too, because it, with like the DS games and stuff like that, I feel like the experience of handheld games was much better than what mobile gaming kind of became and took over. Like you still had some fantastic like mobile games that like were a really great experience, but like do you think there was really one that was as good as like Uncharted Golden Abyss?
No,
Right.
I mean they had to be developed without a controller in mind.
Yeah.
And a game like that, like I don't care, like even Xbox, I mean, this kind of pisses me off about Xbox Cloud, Xbox game streaming, and that they're like, oh, we put these touch controls in so you don't need a controller, but like you can't play the games.
Right.
You just can't. There's just it's you miss the where it is on the screen. It's not responsive enough. Like the current what mobile gaming is now was just an adaptation to what they thought they could make mobile games back 10 years ago.
Right.
Because like they were trying, like there was a Splinter Cell game for iPhone at one point.
Oh no. Oh god, here we
Oh,
go.
it was fantastic. I played it multiple times.
Oh no, Splinter
Um,
Cell. They're they're
mhm,
they're putting it on your toaster now. Mike's gonna freak out. Everybody duck.
yep.
um well it just yeah, like it just feels like we got this like really like wide gap all of a sudden between the games that you could play in your hand and the games that were on your TV screen. And it just feels like instantaneously, again, basically with the Switch, it all of a sudden that gap closed.
Mhm.
I don't know if you heard it, but I did the Switch snap when I did
I
when
heard
I
it,
said,
so
"Oh, nice, awesome." Um, and it's just it's fantastic, right? Like it's awesome that that we're gonna dip back into it. I'm also interested though, uh, with them saying that like the handheld for the Xbox, right, is going to basically be the Series S. Um, do we still think that handheld only experiences will exist, or where do we think that like gap is going to be, seen? I guess, or do you think truly it's going to be one to one? Like anything that runs on the console will also be able to run on the handheld counterpart.
I think ideally it's the latter.
Yeah.
Kind of like the current situation with the series consoles. Um, the one thing I will be very interested to see is if people like stop caring about graphics as much as they care about like platform and
Mm-hmm.
accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, accessibility and like the play anywhere kind of stance.
Yeah.
Because like I could see an instance where these handheld consoles are so successful that developers are just like, you know what? It takes a lot less resources for to develop a game for this console that we're not even going to develop for whatever the high end Xbox or PlayStation is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be interesting. And then that would finally push us into the supreme of all um, platforms in that everything is a handheld console that you can dock into a TV.
It really is, right? Like it really is the the like ideal thing, right?
Yeah.
You can just swap it. You can just switch up all of a sudden. Um God, it's just it's crazy how actually like perfect the concept and idea is and was executed, that very realistically, though they lagged behind, uh, and still had plenty of success with just selling you a box that plugs into your TV, without giving you the option to be portable with it. Like PlayStation and Xbox are now going to potentially follow suit. Uh, and yeah, like you said, like we're just going to enter this era of like we figured it out finally. The ideal system is a hybrid.
I'm going to laugh when the people who want to make like really, really, really massive high end games, like they have to develop them for a cloud platform and
Hmm.
then you have to stream them to the handheld, like what Switch did with Control and
Yeah,
was it Doom maybe?
yeah, and Witcher maybe.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Can't remember if Witcher can
Doom I'm
run.
not sure about, but I know for sure Control, Witcher sounds right. Um and Nintendo's just like, huh, told you that would work.
Yeah.
And everyone is just talking shit on it right now.
What's going to be really funny is when these like companies that want to make these massive games put like $150 million into a first person single player shooter experience, and it doesn't do well because they tried to release it in between two massive single player games that everybody talked about, and then they're going to cry and say that nobody wants to play single player games anymore. I think that'll happen too.
Yeah, probably. Very insightful of you.
Nothing really to go off of on that one. Just totally pulled that out of nowhere. No good recent examples or anything.
No. Nope.
Um, I also think, and again, I don't want to like get too into what Xbox's like going forward plans are, but I do think it's very interesting, um, given light to some of the recent rumors, and what like Xbox's like potential going forward plan is. You know, a handheld console seems like the kind of it seems like the better uh move almost than what like the Series S was trying to be, where
Mm-hmm.
you have the opportunity to have this thing and it executes better on like, you know, because it's a little bit better than needing to like try and do cloud and stuff like that, right? But you have this like thing that can go with you anywhere, and your Xbox games are there, and you know, as they think about their strategy and like potentially opening up their devices or stuff like that, right? Like, and really trying to like completely encapsulate this you know, just play our games anywhere type of idea. And you know, what better way than to literally be able to take a device with you that allows you to play games anywhere. I think it really just helps hammer home on like what this new era of Xbox seems to be about. um so I find that really interesting as well. I'm super excited
And
to like hear, you know, what their thoughts are going forward, because I still have a ton of faith in them. So
and and look at how successful like the X screen was for the Series S.
Hmm.
Um, I even saw like Phil Spencer got one of those and was traveling with the Series S. Uh, that's I personally want to buy a Series S to put an X screen on it.
Right.
So like when I travel, I can actually like consistently play games. Like I try to use cloud streaming, and I would say like half the time it works well enough to play a game for an extended period of time.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Microsoft has seen it with the Series S and what people are doing with it and playing it on airplanes. And,
Yeah.
the,
No,
the market is there.
absolutely. It's just such a fantastic time. I really hope all of these rumors actually end up coming to fruition. All these devices end up like coming true. I like it's exciting to think that we could be moving away from, again, just like being sold a box that plugs into your TV, and like
Right.
innovating off of that, right? And it'll be so funny because what the next console cycle will be, for PlayStation and Xbox, that is, the next console cycle will be in like 2028, probably 2027, 2028.
Yeah.
And
I think they're saying 2027.
if they both end up delivering on a handheld or a hybrid or whatever, it'll be so fucking funny that Nintendo had done it a full decade before them.
Mm-hmm.
And just reaped all of the benefits of being the only device to be able to like do that thing and to do it as well as it does. It's just fantastic. Absolutely
Won't it be
fantastic.
funny, like, when that timeline comes around and, like, I don't know, I feel like the story's always like Nintendo's playing catch up,
Hmm.
but, and then come 10 years, it'll be like Sony and Microsoft are playing catch up and, like, just trying to get the format right of like a portable console. And Nintendo will become the innovator. And, well,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would still say that Nintendo's technically playing catch up. It would just be really funny how fast that narrative will switch, right? Like,
right.
pun intended. Um,
Did you hear my snap?
it did. It barely came through. Discord really wanted to shut you down.
Damn.
Uh, yeah, just very interesting times.
Well, I'm hopeful.
Anything else on handheld rumors?
No, I hope they're all true.
Me too. Me too. We've been clamoring for a PSP or a Vita 2, whatever you want to call it. So about
There's
time.
no way they use the Vita.
Yeah,
I
no.
always laugh when people call it like the Vita too.
What should they call, like, that's kind of the issue of potentially calling the Switch 2, right? Because Nintendo notoriously had issues, right? Was it, yeah, was it the Super Nintendo like didn't sell as well, or was like slow compared to like the NES, and then like the
I mean,
Wii and the Wii U is like the
the Wii
clear.
U was certainly the case
Yeah.
because people didn't realize it was actually like a whole new generation of console. They
Yeah.
just thought it was a Wii with a touchscreen.
Or maybe they had like issues doing the leap from DS to 3DS. I don't know, but regardless, yeah, the Wii U definitely is the case that threw people off. So like, are they potentially ramping up to shoot themselves in the foot by calling a Switch the Switch 2 and not just like giving it a full on new name? Uh,
Yeah, but like the branding
I
for
know,
this,
I
I feel
know.
like it's just going to be like what they've started doing. It's just going to be like the new Switch. Like I feel like that's why.
Is that better?
Well, if it's still like the same, so it's my understanding from everything we've heard, like all accessories, games, physical or digital, everything is going to work with the new Switch. It is purely just a hardware upgrade that will enable like newer games. It's not like, and apparently it will upscale like current Switch as well. But I don't know if you remember like the 3DS. They had like the 3DS, and they
Hmm.
had the 3DS XL.
Oh, I
Then they had the
remember.
new 3DS XL, which technically was a hardware bump that only certain you could like had to have that one to play certain games.
Did they have a new 3DS in there somewhere too?
Well, I think they had a new 3DS, 3DS XL.
So they had a 3DS, a 3DS XL, a new 3DS, and a new 3DS XL?
Yes.
And then they had the 2DS.
Yeah.
Then they had the new 2DS?
I
Or
don't
just
I think they used
2DS
the new
XL,
branding for. I think it was just 2DS XL,
which folds.
which folds. Yes,
So it's like a DS.
pretty much. But it's not.
Godspeed, Nintendo.
It's in 2D.
Godspeed. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm very interested to see how they do that, and if they run into any issues, which
I
hopefully.
hope they call it the Switch Advance.
Oh my god. Oh my god. They have so many options. What do you think? What do you think, PlayStation? Do you think they try to go off of PlayStation Portable? Do you think they try to go off of Vita? Do you think they try to just come up with something new?
I think they hit the nostalgia and they call it the PlayStation Portable.
The new PlayStation Portable, maybe?
No, just place. It's gonna be like what Tomb Raider did. Like the Tomb Raider that came out wasn't the same as the Tomb Raider that came out in 1998 or whatever it was, 96. It's just
right.
There's been enough time. This is PlayStation Portable now.
I hear you. I like it. Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like we don't need to draw attention to it. You know,
it's exactly what it says it is.
You know exactly. You're playing Modern Warfare 2. What are you confused about?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But there wasn't enough time there.
Well, wasn't there? Anyway.
Warfare. Yeah. Whatever.
When did the PSP come out? 2006?
Yeah.
When did Modern Warfare 2 come out? 2009?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I see what you're saying.
It's going to be 20 years by the time.
20 years for the one, 10 years
shit.
for the other. Yeah.
I'm never going to say that out loud again.
Yeah. Do you want me to remind you how old GTA 5 is?
No.
Okay. I won't. It's 10. So, all right. Well, I think that's it then.
Yeah.
Hopefully, people are saying it. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? People are saying that Nintendo is supposed to have some sort of event soon-ish. So, will it be tomorrow? Will it be today if you're listening to this when it comes out? Will it actually be at some point next week? Hopefully, if they decide to do it, they try and do it before the next time we record, so that way we can talk about it. But knowing our luck, they'll do it next Thursday or something like that. So we'll have to wait a whole nother week. Xbox is doing a full-on business update type thing on their Xbox podcast. That's today, if you're listening to it on release, February 15th, where they are hopefully going to be doing a good job of dispelling and also confirming or making it clear what some of these rumors have been. So we will definitely be talking about that finally next week, and I look forward to that. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. So thank you all so much for listening. As always, if you could do us a favor and leave us a rating or review wherever you do listen to the podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. Let us know what your thoughts are on the potential reemergence. Though, I mean, again, it's already been a thing, so it's kind of funny saying that it's back. But back for PlayStation, new for Xbox. What do you think about handhelds? Do you think it's the right move for the gaming industry? And yeah, let us know your thoughts, and we'll talk to you next week.